There's a hat-trick of new deals coming West Ham's way, but on top of that, there are players heading out the door come this summer. Welcome back to the West Ham Network. This is your Hammers Headlines in association with our good friends over at Knees Up, Motherbound, KUMB.com. Make sure you do go across there and check out their fantastic content as per usual. But I am here to bring you some of the news with regards to West Ham. And to be honest with you, it is constantly relentless. So let me get started on the first story of today, and that is the fact that West Ham are working hard behind the scenes to tie down Jarrod Bowen onto a new longer-term contract. He signed with West Ham back in January 2020 on a 5-year deal. He is 26 years old and he has been on fire this season, scoring 3 goals so far in the Premier League. We need to build the team around players like Jarrod Bowen. We've got clubs like Liverpool sniffing around to try and bring him in to their club. But Jarrod Bowen is within the West Ham community. His wife and his father-in-law are massive West Ham fans, and he is settled in Essex. So fingers crossed that can add to the reason why he would also want to stay at the club. What we do want to avoid is getting to within 1 year of his contract, and he would have 1 year left on his contract at West Ham. Currently, he's got 2 years, but there is looking more and more likely that we can agree a deal to keep Jarrod Bowen at the club long term. Let's not forget the fact that he did, of course, go ahead and score that winning goal, fantastic winning goal against Fiorentina in Prague. And of course, he'll be fighting for his position in the England setup. So leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on the potential news that we're looking closely like we can get the deal over the line to keep Jarrod Bowen at the club. And on top of that, you heard yesterday when Russ brought the news to you, coming out from other sources close to the club, that West Ham have open talks and potentially look likely that we're going to extend the contract of Michail Antonio. The Jamaica international's current deal runs out in the summer coming up of 2024. Loads of clubs have been targeting the geezer. Saudi Arabian clubs, even clubs closer to home like Wolves have been keeping tabs on the front man. But it looks like West Ham are going to tie him down. Our Premier League all-time goal scorer. When people have constantly doubted him, he comes back and bounces back and gives us his all. He has struggled over years with injuries, but over the last couple of years, he's changed his diet. He's looking fitter than he normally does. It does mean West Ham play one particular way, but to be honest with you, until you find someone who can replace and do what Antonio can do, it looks like we're going to be left with Antonio moving forward. So leave your comments in and let me know your thoughts on Antonio staying at the club for a further year contract extension. But it doesn't end there, because we're now talking about Vladimir Coufal, and it looks like West Ham are going to activate the contract extension clauses for Vladimir Coufal, but are looking to also potentially extend it. Now, he is 30 years old, and I thought he's one of my favourite players, but I thought against Man City he struggled against a player like Doku. But essentially, he is a seasoned pro at Premier League level. He's performed really well, and when he does play well, he is a very vital part of our West Ham squad. So keeping him longer term on the books with West Ham definitely would add value. Now, what we're led to believe is that we did trigger the option to extend his contract beyond the year that he had left, but it looks like we're potentially negotiating potential terms of a longer deal. It looks like Vladimir Coufal wants to stay at West Ham, wants to stay in London with West Ham, so that definitely will make for interesting reading for the future. What do you think? Put your comments in again and let me know what happens with the Vladimir Coufal deal. Now, listen, other news coming out of the club is that West Ham are not going to extend the contract of Conor Coventry. Now, he will be a free agent come the summer and will be probably moving on from West Ham in the summer. And to be honest with you, it's a shame. It's not necessarily worked out for him. He's hung about, he's tried his best, he's got himself a victory medal with West Ham, obviously after beating Fiorentina in the Conference League, but he is 23 years old and he's not getting regular game time, so he will probably need to go away and find that, and breaking into this first team is going to be so tough. If you think about players like Flynn Downs, who have been brought in last summer and has already been shipped out on loan, then Conor Coventry's opportunities are going to dwindle away whilst being at the club, and he needs to go make a career for himself, and so be it. So thank him for his service, but he is going to be at the club for the foreseeable future until the summer when West Ham will release him. And he's not the only one. There is no new contract offer on the table for Ben Johnson. West Ham have been in negotiations with him for a while. David Moyes has spoke out quite confidently about saying he wants Ben Johnson to stay. He is 23 years old, but according to sources close to the club, they're saying that we're not going to renew their contracts, and they are expiring in the summer of 2024. Now, Johnson began his West Ham career in a very good way, but sadly for him, it has gone backwards. I do feel sorry for him to a certain extent. I think he was one player that was subject to our style of play, and he was forfeited to allow other players to come in and manage the situation at that current time. He played left back, right back, the right-hand side of a three, the left-hand side of a three. He played wing back, left wing back. He's had to cover so many different positions at the club, and I've always felt like if you gave him a run of games, then I think he would have stepped up to the plate. I think he's being judged wrongly by a lot of people, but it's your choice, it's your opinion, and that's what you're allowed to do. But for me, letting go of Ben Johnson, and not really necessarily West Ham letting go. We have made an offer and put the offer on the table, but he has refused it. It looks like we're not going to go back in there and negotiate with him anymore, so he will be free to leave the club come the summer, which means West Ham will have to prioritize that area of the park, which we all felt like we would have had to have done initially in the first place. Anyway, that brings it into your Hammers headlines for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. I don't know if you have. Loads of mixed news, a triple hat-trick potential deal on the table to keep Jared Bowen, Michail Antonio, Vladimir Sufal at the club for a bit longer yet, which will see Antonio finish his days probably at the club, and potentially no new deals for Conor Coventry and Ben Johnson. Leave your comments in the comment section below. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel, hit your thumbs up. Hope you've enjoyed it. Take it easy, and of course, come on, you wonderful